Hello guys, today we are going over Malaysia. Enjoy! 1959 Confrontation. The 1959 Malaya-Philippines diplomatic tensions refers to political tensions in 1959 between the Federation of Malaya and the Philippines during the late colonial and early post-colonial period in Southeast Asia. Disagreements involved regional politics, anti-communist policies, and questions about influence in neighboring territories, such as North Borneo. These tensions were part of the broader instability and diplomatic rivalry in Southeast Asia before the formation of Malaysia in 1963. Petronas. Petronas is the national oil and gas company of Malaysia. Founded in 1974 by Tengku Hamzah. It is involved in petroleum exploration, production, refining, and energy projects around the world. Petronas is one of the largest companies in Southeast Asia and plays a major role in Malaysia's economy. The company is also famous for the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur, which were once the tallest buildings in the world. Indonesia Confrontation. The Indonesia-Malaysia Confrontation, also known as Konfrontasi, was a political and military conflict between Indonesia and the newly formed Malaysia. Indonesian President Sukarno opposed the creation of Malaysia, arguing it was a form of British neo-colonialism. The confrontation involved border raids, guerrilla warfare, and military clashes, especially on the island of Borneo. United Kingdom and Commonwealth forces supported Malaysia during the conflict. Malayan Emergency. The Malayan Emergency was a prolonged armed conflict in what is now Malaysia between British colonial authorities and the communist guerrilla group Malayan National Liberation Army. The conflict began in 1948 and was driven by efforts to establish a communist state following World War II. British and Commonwealth forces responded with military operations, resettlement programs, and counterinsurgency strategies. The emergency officially ended in 1960 after the insurgency was largely defeated, although some remnants continued briefly. Merdeka. Merdeka Day refers to the independence of Malaysia from British colonial rule on August 31, 1957. The word Merdeka means independence or freedom in Malay. The declaration was led by Tunku Abdul Rahman, who became the country's first prime minister. The event took place in Kuala Lumpur and marked the end of the colonial period under the British Malaya. Malayan tiger. Malayan tiger is a critically endangered subspecies of tiger native to the forests of Malaysia. It is smaller than other tiger subspecies and is adapted to dense tropical rainforest habitats. The Malayan tiger is a powerful predator that mainly hunts deer, wild boar, and other medium-sized animals. Its population has declined due to poaching, habitat loss, and human encroachment. Taman Negara National Park. Taman Negara National Park is one of the oldest tropical rainforests in the world, located in Malaysia. It spans across several states and is known for its extremely old ecosystem, estimated to be over 130 million years old. The park is home to diverse wildlife, including tigers, elephants, tapirs, and many bird species. It is a major destination for ecotourism, offering activities like jungle trekking, canopy walks, and river cruises. MH370. Malaysia Airlines. Flight 370, commonly called MH370, was a Malaysia Airlines passenger flight that disappeared on March 8, 2014, while traveling from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The Boeing 777, carrying 239 people, lost contact with air traffic control less than an hour after takeoff. Extensive international search operations were launched across the Indian Ocean, making it one of the largest and most expensive aviation searches in history. Some aircraft debris, believed to be from MH370, was later found on shores in the Indian Ocean region, but the main wreckage has never been fully recovered. Federation of Malaysia. The Federation of Malaya formation in 1948 reorganized British-controlled territories on the Malay Peninsula after opposition to the earlier Malayan Union Plan. It brought together several Malay states and former British settlements under a new federal system while restoring greater powers to the Malay rulers. The arrangement was designed by the British colonial administration to balance local political interests and strengthen governance during the early Cold War period. Separation of Singapore. Separation of Singapore from Malaysia refers to the political split in which Singapore left Malaysia on August 9, 1965. Singapore had joined Malaysia in 1963, but tensions soon developed over political power, economic policies, and ethnic relations between leaders in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. Disagreements between Lee Kuan Yew and the Malaysian federal government became increasingly severe. The Malaysian parliament ultimately voted to expel Singapore from the federation, making it an independent country. Anwar Ibrahim. Anwar Ibrahim is a Malaysian politician who became the Prime Minister of Malaysia in 2022. He first gained prominence in the 1980s and 1990s, serving as Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister under Mahathir Mohamad. Anwar later became a major opposition leader after a political split with Mahathir, leading to years of legal battles and imprisonment that drew international attention. He is known for advocating political reform, anti-corruption measures, and democratic governance. Indonesia relations. Malaysia and Indonesia are neighboring nations in Southeast Asia, with close cultural, linguistic, religious, and historical ties. Both countries share roots in the Malay world and have populations connected through trade, migration, and shared traditions. Their relationship has included cooperation in organizations like ASEAN, as well as periods of tension such as the Indonesia-Malaysia confrontation. Today they cooperate on trade, security, labor, and regional diplomacy, though disputes over borders, migrant workers, and cultural claims occasionally arise. Operations in Malaysia. Operations in East Malaysia generally refers to military and security actions in the eastern part of Malaysia, especially in the states of Sabah and Sarawak on the island of Borneo. During the Indonesia-Malaysia confrontation, Malaysian and Commonwealth forces conducted defensive operations there against cross-border raids and guerrilla activity. These operations focused on securing remote border areas, protecting villages, and preventing infiltration from Indonesian forces supporting Sukarno's policy of confrontasi. Indonesia confrontation. The Indonesia-Malaysia confrontation began in 1963 after the formation of Malaysia, which united Malaya, Singapore, then briefly part of Malaysia, Sabah, and Sarawak. Indonesia, under President Sukarno, opposed the creation of Malaysia, viewing it as a continuation of British influence in the region. This led to cross-border raids, guerrilla warfare, and military clashes, particularly in Borneo. Asian financial crisis. The Asian financial crisis was a major financial downturn that began in East and Southeast Asia in 1997 and intensified through 1998. It severely affected countries such as Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and South Korea. The crisis started with the collapse of the Thai baht after currency speculation and rapidly spread across the region, causing currency devaluations, bankruptcies, and rising unemployment. Governments responded with reforms, international aid, and in some cases, strict austerity measures or capital controls, such as in Malaysia. Jinping was the leader of the Malayan Communist Party during and after the Malayan emergency. He led guerrilla forces in attempts to establish a communist state in what is now Malaysia. After the emergency officially ended in 1960, he continued insurgent activities from bases near the Thai-Malaysia border. A peace agreement was eventually signed in 1989, ending the conflict. 1MDB scandal. The 1MDB scandal was a major corruption and money laundering case connected to the Malaysian state investment fund, One Malaysia Development Berhad. Billions of dollars were allegedly misappropriated through complex international financial transactions involving officials, bankers, and business figures. The scandal drew worldwide attention and involved investigations in multiple countries, including the United States and Singapore. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak was later convicted in several cases related to the scandal. Operation Lalang. The Operation Lalang was a major internal security operation carried out in Malaysia in October 1987. The government detained over 100 people under the Internal Security Act, including politicians, activists, and intellectuals, citing threats to national security and ethnic tensions. It also involved the revocation of several newspaper licenses, tightening control over the media. The operation took place during a period of political and racial tension within Malaysia. Sungai Buloh. Sungai Buloh is a town located in the state of Selangor, Malaysia, near the capital city of Kuala Lumpur. It is known for its mix of residential areas, industrial zones, and agricultural land. The area is also historically associated with the Sungai Buloh Leprosarium, one of the largest settlement hospitals for leprosy patients in the world during the 20th century. In recent years, it has seen rapid development due to urban expansion and improved transportation links. Pakla. Abdullah Ahmad Badawi, commonly known as Pakla, is a Malaysian politician who served as Prime Minister of Malaysia from 2003 to 2009. He succeeded Mahathir Mohamad and was known for promoting moderate Islam and administrative reforms under his concept of Islam Hadhari. His administration focused on anti-corruption efforts and improving public institutions. However, he faced criticism over economic performance and internal political challenges within his party. Fireworks explosion. The Bright Sparklers fireworks factory explosion was a deadly industrial accident that occurred in Malaysia on May 7, 1991. The explosion took place at a fireworks factory operated by Bright Sparklers in the town of Sungai Buloh, near Kuala Lumpur. The blast triggered a series of secondary explosions and fires that spread through nearby residential and industrial areas. It caused significant loss of life, injuries, and widespread property damage. Japanese invasion. The Japanese invasion of Malaya began in December 1941 when Imperial Japanese forces invaded British-controlled Malaya during World War II. Japanese troops advanced rapidly down the Malay Peninsula, using coordinated air, naval, and ground attacks against British and Commonwealth forces. The campaign ended with the fall of Singapore in February 1942, one of Britain's worst military defeats. During the occupation, civilians in what is now Malaysia faced hardship, shortages, and repression. British Malaya. British Malaya refers to the period when Britain controlled or heavily influenced much of the Malay Peninsula from the 18th century until independence in 1957. British involvement began through trading ports such as Penang, Malacca, and Singapore, later expanding into protectorates and federated Malay states. During colonial rule, the British developed industries like tin mining and rubber production, bringing large numbers of Chinese and Indian migrants to the region. Colonial administration also introduced railways, modern education systems, and new legal structures, while maintaining indirect rule through local Malay sultans in many areas. Sodomy trials. The Anwar Ibrahim sodomy trials refer to a series of controversial legal cases involving Malaysian politician Anwar Ibrahim. The first case began in 1998 after he was dismissed from government and arrested, leading to charges of corruption and sodomy, which he denied and said were politically motivated. He was convicted and imprisoned, but later released after his conviction was overturned in 2004. A second sodomy charge was brought in 2008, leading to another conviction in 2015, which was also highly controversial. Malaysia Airlines, Flight 17. Malaysia Airlines Flight 17, commonly known as MH17, was a passenger flight shot down on July 17, 2014, while flying over eastern Ukraine. The aircraft, a Boeing 777 operated by Malaysia Airlines, was traveling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur. All 298 people on board were killed when the plane was struck by a surface-to-air missile during the conflict in the region. Investigations concluded it was downed by a missile system brought into the area amid the war in eastern Ukraine. Hamza, 1988. Tengku Razaleigh. Hamza, in 1988, was a key opposition figure within Malaysian politics following a major split in the ruling party United Malays National Organization. Earlier, he had challenged then Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad for party leadership in 1987, which led to a highly divisive internal party crisis. After the dispute, UMNO was declared illegal by the courts due to irregularities, and Mahathir formed a new party called UMNO Baru. Tengku Razaleigh later formed an opposition group known as Semangat. 46 in 1989. Mahathir Mohamad. Mahathir Mohamad, commonly known as Tun M, is a Malaysian politician who served as Prime Minister of Malaysia for 2 non-consecutive terms, 1981 to 2003 and 2018 to 2020. He is one of the longest-serving leaders in the country's history and is known for transforming Malaysia into a more industrialized economy. His leadership focused on rapid development, infrastructure projects, and strong executive governance. He is also a controversial figure due to his central role in major political and constitutional changes. Kami Bosku. Kami Bosku is a popular political slogan in Malaysia that became widely associated with former Prime Minister Najib Razak. The phrase roughly means, "We are the boss," or "He is our boss," and it was used by supporters as a form of public support during his political comeback efforts after leaving office. It became especially viral on social media and at public gatherings, often used in a humorous or rally-style way. The slogan reflects how modern Malaysian politics often blends online culture with real-world political movements. Kajang Move. The Kajang Move was a political maneuver in Malaysia in 2014, involving the opposition coalition Pakatan Rakyat. The plan was widely believed to involve replacing the Selangor state chief minister with opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim, but after legal complications and his later imprisonment, his wife Wan Azizah, Wan Ismail, was nominated instead. The move caused internal tensions within the coalition and political uncertainty in the state of Selangor. It ultimately reshaped leadership dynamics in the opposition at the time. Nepotism issue. The nepotism issue involving Anwar Ibrahim refers to long-standing political accusations made by opponents in Malaysia that he allegedly favored close associates and family members in political roles, especially within opposition politics. These criticisms became more visible during periods when his wife, Wan Azizah, Wan Ismail, and other allies held leadership positions in opposition coalitions. Supporters of Anwar argue that these appointments were based on political necessity and party consensus rather than personal favoritism. Critics, however, have used the issue as part of broader debates about transparency and internal party democracy. May 13th. The 13th May incident was a major outbreak of ethnic violence in Malaysia following the 1969 general election. Tensions between different communities escalated in Kuala Lumpur, leading to widespread riots, deaths, and a national state of emergency. It resulted in major political changes, including the strengthening of state security and the introduction of the new economic policy. Raymond Koh. Raymond Koh is a Malaysian Christian pastor who went missing in February 2017 in Malaysia. He was abducted in a coordinated roadside operation in Petaling Jaya while driving. The incident drew widespread attention and concern from both local and international communities. Investigations have been carried out, but his whereabouts remain unknown, and no conclusive public explanation has been provided. Tragedy Double Six. The Double Six tragedy was a fatal air crash that occurred on June 6, 1976 in Malaysia. A small aircraft carrying several high-ranking officials crashed in Sembilan near Kota Kinabalu, Sabah. Among those killed was the Chief Minister of Sabah, Tun Fuad Stevens, along with the other state ministers. The cause of the crash has been widely discussed, with various theories and investigations over the years. Sanusi. The Sanusi versus Saifuddin refers to a recent political rivalry in Malaysia between Muhammad Sanusi Madnor and Saifuddin Nasution Ismail. It reflects tensions between opposing political coalitions in Malaysia's federal and state-level politics, especially between Perikatan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan. And that was the end of the Malaysia Iceberg. Happy Asian Month, and bye.